Some flights are remembered for smooth landings. Others are remembered forever for how they ended. On November 23, 1996, a commercial airplane took off from Addis Ababa with 175 people on board. It was supposed to be a routine multi-stop journey across Africa. But just 20 minutes after takeoff, 3 men stood up inside the cabin and claimed they had a bomb. What followed was not just a hijacking, it was a deadly fight between fuel, time, and human limits. This is the true story of Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961, a flight whose final moments changed aviation history forever. You are watching Z Mystery. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961 was a Boeing 767-260ER, one of the most advanced aircraft of its time. The planned route was Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Nairobi, Kenya, Brazzaville, Congo, Lagos, Nigeria. On board were 175 people in total, families, business travelers, tourists, an experienced flight crew led by Captain Lewul Abate. Everything was normal. Seatbelt signs turned off, cabin service began, passengers relaxed. No one knew that within minutes their lives would be completely changed. About 20 minutes after takeoff, 3 men suddenly rushed forward inside the cabin. They shouted that they had a bomb. Their demand was shocking: fly the plane to Australia. The hijackers were Ethiopian nationals seeking political asylum. They believed Australia would protect them. But there was one fatal problem. They had no understanding of aviation. Captain Abate calmly tried to explain the reality. The plane did not have enough fuel to reach Australia, not even close. The captain offered alternatives: landing at nearby airports, flying to a closer country, saving everyone's lives. But the hijackers refused to listen. They believed the pilots were lying. They insisted that the plane could fly forever on autopilot. Fuel was not a real issue. This misunderstanding would soon cost 125 lives. As the plane continued flying, fuel levels dropped rapidly. The pilots secretly worked together, knowing the truth. Negotiations were failing. Fuel exhaustion was inevitable. They began searching for the closest possible place to attempt an emergency landing. Below them was the Indian Ocean. Ahead lay the Comoros Islands. The cockpit crew made a silent decision. If fuel runs out, the ocean is the only option. One by one, the engines began to fail. First engine flame out, then the second. At 39,000 feet, the Boeing 767 became a powerless glider. No engines, no thrust, only gravity, speed, and skill. Captain Abate made the announcement: brace for impact. Inside the cabin, passengers screamed. Some prayed. Others held each other, believing it was the end. The pilots attempted a controlled ditching near shallow waters close to land, but tragedy struck. One wing touched the water first. The aircraft violently spun. The plane broke apart and flipped upside down. Within seconds, the ocean swallowed the aircraft. Out of 175 people on board, 125 lost their lives. 50 survived. Many survivors were saved because the crash happened near a beach. Local fishermen rushed to help. The hijackers did not survive. The pilots fought until the very last second to save as many lives as possible. This disaster was not caused by mechanical failure, pilot error, bad weather. It was caused by ignorance, misinformation, blind stubbornness. If the hijackers had understood one simple fact, that airplanes cannot fly without fuel, this tragedy could have been avoided. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961 is now studied worldwide. It taught aviation authorities the danger of misinformation, the psychological side of hijackings, the importance of crew training under impossible pressure. It remains one of the most tragic examples of how human belief can overpower reality. This was not just a hijacking, it was a lesson written in blood and water about what happens when fear meets ignorance at 39,000 feet. This was the story of Ethiopian Airlines Flight 961. If you found this documentary powerful, subscribe to Z Mystery for more real-life aviation disasters, true mysteries, and stories that change the world. Because here, we don't just tell stories, we uncover the truth behind them.